After doing over 100 films spanning 40 years, he redefines cinematic jugglery. His jhakkas moves have won our hearts, and he further conquered Bollywood with Hollywood with Slumdog Millionaire. His charismatic creativity made cult films like Ram Lakhan more effulgent, Tal more musical, and Lamhe even more relevant today. For him, versatility is the road to immortality. The man who never hits a stump, who never rests, supremely popular, universally loved, he is one of the edifices on which Indian cinema rests. A quick glance at his creative journey fills the heart with pure, unadulterated envy. So much color, so much style, so much diversity cannot be the monopoly of one man alone. It is my pleasure, honor, and privilege to present to you the cinematic wizard, Anil Kapoor ji. Can we hear it for him? Yes, now the grandfather to Vayu. Congratulations. Absolutely. We have another stellar luminary with us today. She epitomizes simplicity and sagacity. She has given us sumptuous slices of Indian cinema, whether it was her iconic books on Hema Malini and Amitabh Bachchan or over 5,000 columns. She's a creative genius whose pen is as prolific today as it was 4 decades ago. She bonds with cinematic legends like Anil Kapoor ji, and her relationships go beyond showbiz. She is the only journalist today visible in all the mediums, be it radio, the web, TV, or print. She loves the grit and glamour of Bollywood, and the abiding love for her mother tongue, Gujarati, is unparalleled. How do I introduce a legend to whom we owe most of our cinematic know-how, which is embedded in her verbal landscape? Ladies and gentlemen, please can we hear it for the versatile, the vivacious, and the vibrant Bhavna Somaya ji. She wears many literary and cultural mantles. Film journalist, editor, translator, columnist, critique, podcaster, radio personality, costume designer, classical dancer, Padma Shri awardee in 2017. I'm running out of breath as well as words to describe the momentous accomplishments of our distinguished guests. I will settle for simply saying I'm proud to welcome Bhavna ji and hope that some of her luster would rub on to all of us present here today. We are here to unveil her latest book, Letters to Self, by our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, which has been translated to English by the esteemed film journalist and historian. The book delves deep into the inner musings and ruminations which came to life in rhyme and meter. This one expresses Narendra Modi's unpolished, unrestrained ideas, dreams, and concerns on an array of subjects ranging from beauties of nature to the trials and tribulations of life. Please may I invite Anil Kapoor to launch Bhavna ji's book, Letters to Self. So please can we have you on the dais? Bhavna ji. Can I also request Ehsas Mumbai members, Karishma Mehta and Ruhi to please join us on stage for a nice group photograph.
कहाँ देखना है ये बता दो। Detached from the body. Detached from the body from affection. Detached from material joys and all its trappings. Demolish the forts. Destroy the cage. Break free from velvet dreams. Wandering night, wastrel night, blabbering night, lonely night. Desert the words, their implications. Break the foundations of speculations. If no one is with you, walk alone. If someone accompanies, not a problem. Break free from the rigmarole, accept, embrace a new path.
Thank you very much to the Padma Shri, to the Abhinay Shri, and Janta Janardhan. Thank you.
You were wonderful. You were terrific. Absolutely fantastic. गुजराती भी आपने ज़बरदस्त इतनी समझ नहीं आ रही थी फिर भी आपने जिस तरह थोड़ी बहुत समझ आती है मगर जिस तरह आपने रेंडरिंग की मुझे सब बात समझ में आ गई फिर आपने हिंदी में बात की वो बहुत खूबसूरत थी वो भी और फिर जो अंग्रेजी में बात की तो यू हैव कमांड ओवर 3 लैंग्वेजेस एंड आई रिस्पेक्ट यू एंड एडमायर यू फॉर दैट नाइस टू मीट यू गुजराती मैं बोल चुका हूँ एक फिल्म है वो फिल्म का नाम लेना नहीं चाहूँगा थोड़ी सी सीरियस सभा है ये कॉमेडी है वो टोटल धमाल
That was such a beautiful rendition. Thank you for the most profound, magical words. Anil Kapoor ji, Bhavna ji, and Ojas ji. Now can I request the scintillating, the vibrant Ruhi Sayal to take over and start the conversation with Bhavna ji and Anil ji.
Namaskar, Mumbai. Namaskar. Welcome, Bhavna ji. Congratulations on your new book. You know, you're an exemplary journalist, critic, author. I mean, second to none in the industries for the last 40 years. Also, not to forget, a very graceful Bharatnatyam dancer. You look beautiful today. A very warm welcome to you. And please accept my apologies. I think the foundation has done a blunder by flying in this girl from Jalandhar all the way to be sitting next to, I mean, it's hard for me to even look at him or to begin conversation. I'm blushing looking at him. This is surreal. This is surreal to be sitting right next to AK Anil Kapoor. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, AK is here today for Bhavna ji's book launch.
You are not allowed to call him AK. Only his friends call him AK.
Oh, sorry, Anil. I'm really sorry, Anil ji. So,
No, it's fine. I think there are a lot of AKs now.
You know, I actually met a lot of his, spoke to a lot
There's
of people.
Amir Khan, there's Anupam Kher, there's Akshay Kumar.
Yes, so
But I'm the
हम
original
जब-
AK.
You are the original AK.
Yeah, yeah.
और हम जब मिले
Please
तब
keep that in mind, okay? I'm senior to all 3 of them also. Came in this industry before them.
So, I'd like to ask, Anil ji is here to, of course, release Bhavna ji's book. In 2000, it's the same, Anil ji was with Bhavna ji in London to release her second book, right?
No. In 1999,
99.
my book was released in London because it was a London publisher. But when I had the Mumbai release, Anil had released the book. And it was done at a music cafe. And we had taken the book out of a film reel box because at that time films were coming out in reels, you remember? And now everything is digital. And both of us were a little nervous. I, because it was my book release, and Anil Kapoor, because he was not as used to making public statements on public platforms.
I am more nervous today.
क्या कितना झूठ बोल रहा है? In fact, I want to give
Obviously,
full credit.
you asked me to come and release a book. The poems written by the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. It's a huge honor. It's a privilege, you know. And it makes me feel very blessed. You know, you have to understand. So I might, pretend I'm very confident and, that's what actors are, you know. You have to wear a mask, no? Am I right or wrong? जैसे आपने कहा अभी कि मैं क्या उनसे कौन से पिल्स ले रहे हैं आप? एंजाइटी पिल्स तो नहीं लेता हूँ थोड़े बहुत विटामिन्स के पिल्स तो मैं जरूर लेके आया हूँ आज.
Well, he's nervous, I'm nervous. आज का conversation तो 1-2 का 4, 4-2 का 1 होने वाला है. So please bear with us. So before we talk about your book, Bhavna ji, I'd like to ask about your journey. Had you always dreamt of becoming a journalist, a film journalist? Please tell us about your journey.
Very boring to answer this question because how many times I have answered. I didn't want to be a working woman, forget wanting to be a journalist. I am the youngest in my house and I thought that if I do any kind of work, I will be pulled up, I'll make mistakes. So I was completely without any ambition. I had no goals, no desire. I had no special author I admired. I had no journalist role model in my life. But when things have to happen to you in your life, things happen. I used to write for the college magazine and one of the college girls told me that my uncle is bringing out a magazine, you'll write for him. And I said, okay, then one magazine led to another and then to the third. And I kept telling myself and my parents kept thinking that she will leave within few months. They will realize that she has no talent. They were upset that I was a film journalist because they felt what will the community say. And अच्छे घर की लड़कियां थोड़ी film journalist बनती है, इसके साथ कोई शादी नहीं करेगा. ये सारे डर थे उन लोगों में. But the thing about show business is that nobody can help you to launch yourself here. But if you are good at your job, no matter how hard you try to give it up, it's a one-way street, you can't get out. So I think I got stuck. I thought it'll be 1 year, then 1 decade, but I lasted for 4 decades. And I've known him for 4 decades.
Amazing. Now about your book, Bhavna ji, The Letter to Self. How did it reach your doorstep? Did you take it up on your own? Did you want to do the translation? Or were you called upon because of the stature as an author, known for captivating, capturing the right essence of it?
It was the COVID time, and I didn't want to get into a depression. I was working on a film book, and I started translating his first book, which I had in my bookshelf, which was called Sakshi Bhav, which was translated as Letters to Mother. People think it is letters to his biological mother, but it is letters to Mother Goddess. After that, I felt I had got into the teeth of his writing, and I had a hang and flair for his birds, the way it flew. And so I found another book in my bookshelf, which was called Aankha Dhanyache. And I just started translating. I didn't think much about it. As a journalist, I first just do fatafat one draft, finish it in time of deadline, and then you sculpt it and perfect it, and it becomes a book, and then you pitch it, and you find a publisher like Fingerprint. I'm very happy with Fingerprint because they've been with me for my earlier book on Lord Krishna, which was called Keshava, and this is my second book, and I'm sure that we are going to do more books together.
Bhavna ji, this is a great segue to ask you that, Narendra Modi ji has written a note under the heading, From the Heart. He said, I plead you to not equate my expression with my post or position, rather celebrate it for the merit of the thought and the emotion. Do you think in the process of translation, you have maintained the essence of his emotion?
A lot of political journalists have asked me if I was intimidated translating his work. I wasn't, because I'm not a political journalist. I am not intimidated by his post of power. I don't have to deal with him. I don't have to interview him. I don't report about him. I deal with cinema. And the best I know are film actors. So anything else that I'm dealing with, I'm just taking it as a challenge and I flirt with it and I do it. I don't think too much about it. अगर बहुत ज़्यादा सोचोगे तो कुछ नहीं होता है.
You know, like you said, बहुत ज़्यादा सोचोगे तो कुछ नहीं होता है. In fact, I was watching an interview of Anil ji. You know, you said कि when you're writing, you just should pen it down and release the book. And in a similar manner, I'd like to ask you a question. There are many movies that you make, you put your heart and soul in it. And often this happens that, you know, the movie is not released. How disheartened do you feel when the movie is not released? Whereas in your case, when you write something, you just decide to release it. So I just want to know a comparison between an actor and a writer. So
I think अनिल की कोई फिल्म नहीं है जो रिलीज नहीं हुई थी.
मैं सोच रहा था.
नहीं हुई है. But
नहीं.
I actually did see an interview of you and Anupam ji where you said there was a movie of yours which was not released. It's a very funny incident that he narrated in that interview where he said he's wearing these tights and he's dancing and he felt that his legs are like looking very skinny, so he didn't want that movie to be released.
That was a film which was released in Telugu, and the film's name was Vamsa Raksham. And and I think it was this was directed by Mr. Bapu Saab, and the tights which I had worn it for that film, and the film was dubbed also in Hindi called Pyar Ka Sindoor. And but the funny incident was that I thought I have got very good legs, and my legs are like, you know, one of the like उस दिनों में तो हम दारा सिंह जी और इनके बारे में ही सोचते थे, रुस्तम हिंद वगैरह. तो मैंने समझा कि मेरे भी लेग्स जो हैं या धर्म जी के जो लेग्स थे, they were all, you know. So I thought even I am as my legs. And suddenly when I saw the rushes and I saw the film, I felt, yeah, what are these two matchsticks? You know, I said, such skinny legs I have. So my जो मेरा भ्रम था अपने पैरों के बारे, टांगों के बारे में, वो उस फिल्म और उस गाने के बाद टूट गया. So that was the funny incident which I narrated. Your next question.
Yes. So Bhavna ji, of course, you've given many reviews for Anil ji's movies. Now, when you give reviews about Sonam or Harshvardhan, how much of Anil Kapoor do you see in them?
I don't see any connection in the question that you're asking, but I'll answer it in my own way. See, in the olden days when I was not doing film reviews, then I used to be Anil's confidant. If the reviewers were giving him bad review, which was very, very seldom because he's a very, very good actor. So even when the film was bad, Anil Kapoor was always good. So only once in a while, the critics were giving him bad review. So he would tell me कि देख उसने कैसे लिखा, and I will say हाँ उसने ऐसे लिखा करके मैं उसके support system थी. बाद में मैं खुद reviews करने लगी, तो then मैंने अपने आप को distance कर लिया अनिल कपूर से कि भाई तू मेरा दोस्त ज़रूर है, मगर फिल्म के टाइम पे तो मैं critic रहूँगी. और जब बच्चे आए तो बच्चे के और प्यार तो है, तो एक दो फिल्म में बच्चों के साथ प्यार से रिव्यू किया, अभी तो बच्चे को भी छोड़ेंगे नहीं. तो अनिल takes it in his stride about himself and about his children also. I am absolutely certain he's never confronted me about it, and that is how equations should be. You can't be pleasing people. He doesn't please me and I don't please him. It is about sharing creativity, sharing space, and sharing a mindset.
Absolutely, because I feel she's absolutely right. I've never really confronted anybody. And मैं आप आज सीक्रेट बता देता हूँ, मैं रिव्यूज़ पढ़ता ही नहीं हूँ. मैं रिव्यूज़ पढ़ता हूँ फिल्म के रिलीज़ के 6 महीने या 1 साल के बाद. So what happens is, so somewhere I feel I've got a feedback, genuine feedback from the audience and the people. Not only from my family, but from my friends and well-wishers, and to certain who are not my friends also. तो एक आइडिया मिल जाता है कि फिल्म को किस तरह पसंद किया गया और मेरे काम को किस तरह पसंद किया या नहीं पसंद किया, या दे आर टोटली इनडिफरेंट. एक फीलिंग आ जाती है. उसके बाद यू आर टोटली डिटैच्ड. यू अंडरस्टैंड? देन आई गो बैक टू द रिव्यूज एंड रीड देम. सो एट दैट मोमेंट आई एम ऑलरेडी वर्किंग इन सम अदर फिल्म. तो पढ़ो तो फिर वो इट डजंट, तारीफ से भी कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है और अगर बुराई की है उससे भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. तो कोई बोलते ना ये इतने साल जो longevity का reason क्या है? This is one of the reasons.
Ruhi, I'll just interrupt because, you know, Anil is a very hardworking actor. And he is not a fluke actor. He's not a fluke of success. He gives more than 100% to every film, every filmmaker. And he appears most of the time like he's not concentrating because he looks elsewhere. He's not all the time making eye contact with you, but he's absorbing everything. And I have seen him in his interaction with his co-artists and also his directors. And whenever he's pointing out or making a suggestion, it is 99.9% always on the mark. Because he's not thinking about just himself and his persona and how it's going to affect his image, but how is it going to benefit the film. See, being an actor is very, very tough. And it's also being very, very vulnerable because you are in the presence of everybody learning your lines, learning your dance steps, performing. मेरा क्या है, मैं तो अपनी स्टडी में बैठ के ये लेटर्स टू सेल्फ या जो भी किताब लिखती हूँ, I make 9 drafts or 900 drafts, nobody will ever know. When I'm perfect, I go to the publisher. How do you do it?
How do I do it?
Like when you start on a new film, what is your process happening? How are you interacting with people, with your family? Do you withdraw when you're getting into a new character?
Of course, to ask.
With your permission.
No, sure.
Can I answer?
Go ahead, please. Go ahead and
No,
answer.
it depends on film to film, character to character. It depends whom you're working with. Sometimes you work with a filmmaker where, you feel, अरे यार ये इतना मंजावा, filmmaker है, तो कहीं मैं गलतियाँ करूँगा तो वो मुझे संभाल लेगा. And then you surrender yourself. And I've always been a director's actor. So my goal is always to make my director happy. कि जो उस वक्त लीडर है सेट पर और जो उस वक्त, and film is a director's medium, as I always believe in. I know content is very important, writing is very important. All these are very, very important कि बिना लिखत के कुछ हो नहीं सकता. Because that's where when you have to sit on a blank paper and write, it's very, very tough. And when you say that you do that and all, but it's not easy, I can't even write one word. And when I have to write a letter or something, or something I have to write, I find it very, very tough. So, and obviously there are certain characters, certain roles, you prep, you research, you work, as you said, my eyes are not, I don't look at, because there are 100 tracks running.
मगर अभी मेरे सामने देखकर बात कर सकते हो.
मैं देखना चाहता हूँ, but you're looking very beautiful, huh? I love your sari. I like the jewelry. And everybody over here. Today, all ladies who have come here are very, very pretty. Very charming.
Thank you.
And seriously, honestly. And all have been dressed up so elegantly over here. Everybody over here.
It's this foundation called Ehsas Women.
Absolutely, yeah. I was quite taken aback as soon as I entered. I felt safe.
Bhavna ji, of course, you've been in the industry for so many, many years. You're very closely, in touch with the actors. I'd like to ask you that, when you interview them, there are days that, the actor is going through maybe their downs or their ups. So when you go back home, is it very often that you take back their, their moods and you feel overwhelmed? How do you just snap out of it? Or is it that when you're in your writings, it affects your writings?
Nice question, nice observation. See, cinema is definitely the most sensitive medium because it involves sound, image, emotion, music.
Words.
And film artists are the most sensitive people I have ever met. They are recipient of so many emotions in a day, and they have to take out the right emotion at the right time and present it in their projection, which is not easy. And as a person who is meeting them on the sets, at home, sometimes traveling with them, I am sensitive to their moods or what is happening in their hearts. Every time things don't have to be discussed, you absorb it. Sometimes you carry home their fears and anxieties related to a film, related to a relationship. But you can't park every emotion in your heart. So you park it somewhere in your subconscious, and it helps you somewhere in your art. So everything is about art eventually. What do you think, AK?
Very deep answer you gave. इतना मैं deep हूँ नहीं इस वक्त. Yeah.
एक मजेदार किस्सा मैं अनिल कपूर का सुनाना चाहती हूँ, because I think people will love it. He may get a little embarrassed. So
I'm used to getting embarrassed.
So we became friends in the 80s. Okay. And that time there were no mobile phones, they were just MTNL phones. And then he went to shoot South film. Was it Vamsabriksham? I don't know. It was the Mani Ratnam film, Pallavi.
Pallavi and Pallavi.
Pallavi and Pallavi. तो
यहाँ कोई काम नहीं दे रहा था तो मैंने बोला जहाँ से.
Before वो 7 दिन, you can imagine how young he was. Now also he's young. तो he was away for a long time and he said कि मैं वहाँ जहाँ शूट कर रहा हूँ ना, वहाँ सब कॉटन साड़ी तुम पहनती हो ना, ऐसी बहुत मिलती है, मैं तुम्हारे लिए एक साड़ी लेकर आऊँगा. बिकॉज अभी अभी उसने काम करना शुरू किया था, थोड़ा पैसा मिला था बेचारा, उसमें से माँ बहन दोस्त सबके लिए साड़ियाँ लेकर आने वाला था. तो एक दिन फ़ोन किया मुझे और कहा कि यू डोंट रिमेंबर दिस इंसिडेंट ना, और यू रिमेंबर.
साड़ियाँ से काफ़ी चीज़ें याद आ रही हैं.
हाँ, दूसरी गर्लफ्रेंड्स की सब बात याद आ रही है. कोई बात नहीं, वो तो साइड में रखते
एक ही
हैं.
गर्लफ्रेंड थी जिससे मैंने शादी की.
वो तो सही है, वो तो सही है. तो उसने मेरे को फ़ोन पे बोला, मैंने कहा अनिल साड़ी अच्छी होनी चाहिए, नहीं तो मैं नहीं पहनूंगी. तो ही सेड इट इज़ दीवार साड़ी. दीवार? So he said दीवार साड़ी it is. So in my heart I thought it will be a brick colored sari with a brick design. Cut to Anil Kapoor arrives in Bombay, gives me the packet. It is haldi yellow. So I am saying इसमें दीवार क्या है? What is the adjective used for दीवार? तू समझी नहीं? दीवार पिक्चर में कैसा है? किसी ने हमको बोल दिया अच्छा है फिल्म, तो भी जब हम फिल्म देखने जाते हैं, क्या कमाल की फिल्म है, क्या कमाल के अमिताभ बच्चन है. ये साड़ी दीवार है, मैंने तेरे को बोला अच्छी है, फिर भी दीवार है. अभी how am I supposed to understand this film example? But his life is full of this.
Yeah. Actually, I sometimes someone asks me where ये एड्रेस कहाँ है, तो मैं हमेशा पूछता हूँ वहाँ आसपास थिएटर कौन सा है. तो बोला कि वहाँ रूपम सिनेमा है. अच्छा वहाँ रहता है तू. अच्छा फिर कहाँ रहता है तू? चेंबूर में कहाँ रहता है? कौन सा वो नटराज सिनेमा? अच्छा जू पे कौन सा? चंदन सिनेमा के पीवीआर के वहाँ. सो एड्रेस अकॉर्डिंग टू द फिल्म. देन आई सेड दिस हैपेंड ड्यूरिंग, ये कब हुआ था, कौन सी फिल्म रिलीज हुई थी? अच्छा शोले के वक्त. ओह 1975. ओके वो अच्छा वो जूली जब रिलीज हुई थी मेट्रो पे, अच्छा उस साल की बात कर रहा है. देन आई रिमेंबर दैट ईयर. सो एवरीथिंग इज कनेक्टेड. The addresses, the year, and so many incidents are connected. So I've been very, very fortunate that from the time she didn't have any ambition, she didn't know what she was going to do, but I was very sure from the time I came to my senses that I wanted to be an actor, So that was like very, very clear. So I've been very fortunate. There are a lot of people whom I met. Some engineer बनना चाहते थे, कोई director बनना चाहता था, कोई क्या बनना चाहता था, कोई scientist, doctor, and ultimately they became actors. But I was very clear from the time थोड़ी सोच that I want to be an actor. So I think I know Bhavna since many, many years. So it's more than 40. Yeah.
But we both look very young still.
So you look younger.
Please note everybody. Anil Kapoor, I said I look younger.
Absolutely.
May I ask you a question? Bhavna ji, this is your 19th book. Each book of yours is a child of yours. Which is your favorite book? Which is very close to your heart?
Very difficult to answer. I can't pick one book that I like. but I like my book on Lord Krishna, which was called Keshava, A Magnificent Obsession, because I feel the universe is obsessed with Lord Krishna. And in this book, it is about the cosmos, and everything that breathes is obsessed with the deity.
So the first book you wrote was a biography on Amitabh Bachchan, and now on Narendra Modi ji's poems. How difficult is it to translate a book in comparison to writing a biography?
Not just biography. See, there are two kinds of writers: those who only do translations, and those who do original writing. I combine both because I do original writing and I also do translation. When I do original writing, I am a free bird. But when I do translation, I have to abide by the thought of my subject. So when I agreed, or rather I started working on Shri Modi's poetry translation, I had a lot of challenges. The biggest challenge was that it is a male voice. It is a male thought process. And I am used to offering a female gaze. Because when I was younger and when my editor, I would submit my stories, Rauf Ahmad, he would say, "You're too sensitive. I can hear glass bangles in your writing." I could have taken offense and said that this is a sexist remark. I didn't, because that's not how he meant it. He meant it as a compliment. But I was very certain that when I translate Modi ji, his voice and his sensibility will remain the same as it is. I will just work on sculpting the language. So I can't say what is easy and what is difficult. I think writing is difficult, translating is difficult. Every day when I write, I feel कि आज तो नहीं होगा. Every time I have to write an editorial, I feel आज नहीं हो पाएगा. And I always say कि बस कुछ न कुछ करके हो जाता है.
So I'm just going to ask you a few questions, which you're going to answer on the top of your head.
No, but ask AK also, no?
I'm going to ask him too.
Launch
Toughest
आपकी
movie
आपने
of-
book लगी है. Why should he ask? Should ask
Toughest movie of AK.
you? Sorry?
Sorry.
Oh, so
Anil.
you're asking Bhavna.
Yeah.
Toughest movie of AK. You're asking
No,
Bhavna.
toughest movie of Anil ji that
asking-
you've reviewed.
Oh, reviewed. Okay.
I have started reviewing only in the last decade. I will tell you the toughest movie, according to him as an actor, I would say, or the movie that the character was so complex that it touched me. One is Lamhe, because he's doing two roles in one film. And my favorite, Virasat.
Did you read her review, Anil ji?
I told you I don't
Exactly.
read reviews.
Okay.
Seriously. I have read a few reviews, but then अब काफी टाइम के बाद पढ़ा है तो धुंधला धुंधला सा है तो मुझे याद नहीं है.
But I remember the reviews that he got. He was superbly praised because Kamal Hassan had done that in the original. And for the South people, Kamal Hassan is God. And he did it with Gemini Ganesh. No?
Shivaji Ganesh.
Shivaji Ganesh.
And I did it with Amrish
With
ji.
Amrish Puri. And everybody said that it was fabulous.
Bhavna ji, which actor among the present
As
actors?
I said, कि sometimes what happens is reading the review. Sorry, just as I said, na, कि I get the feedback from well-wishers, people. So I remember when Kamala Hassan ji saw the film and he said, उन्होंने जब फिल्म देखी तो उन्होंने कहा कि कभी-कभी होता ना कि आपकी जब बेटी शादी करती है तो आपको लगता है कि यार ये अच्छे घर में जाए और उसकी she's looked after very well.
Nice.
So he said, I felt that, that my daughter's gone to the right house and has been looked after very well. That's what he said.
This is lovely. So, which actor among the present actors do you see could be second to Anil ji?
Anil Kapoor, yaar.
Anil Kapoor.
I really cannot think of a name. I don't think the present actors have sustaining power the way Amitabh Bachchan, Anil Kapoor, have, and I'm not saying this as a cynical remark, you have to be there for 40 years, 50 years, and then we will decide what is the sustaining power.
Lovely. So, who is the film journalist? Anilji, this is a question for you. Who is the film journalist you think in the present could be second to Bhavna ji? The same question for you.
Present generation में
And as if they know, it's a wrong question, sorry.
You know, it's actually because वो connect, you know, it's, you see, पहले क्या था, there was a personal connect.
Exactly.
And today the entire scenario has changed. I'm not saying anything against or for any journalist. The whole idea is completely different. There are so many of them.
Yeah, so many of them. there's
And
not
because
that
of
bond.
social media, you know, even more.
Yes.
And so it's पहले, you know, वो अलग दुनिया अलग थी वो. कैसे बताऊं? It was a different
you
world.
were closely
Absolutely.
connected then.
हाँ, closely connected, and
Yes.
still, as she said, that कभी professional जो उनका दायरा होता था वो अलग होता था, personal अलग होता था. तो जो उनको लिखना था, मतलब my friends have written, I feel when I've read the reviews after 1 year या 1.5 साल, दोस्तों ने ज़्यादा बुराई की है मेरी. You know, in a way. You know, sometimes there are certain films where you felt you've done your best, but sometimes the friends. But one thing good about the friends is there is our friends who have called me up after 30 years and told me, Aisha, I was wrong. For them to accept, I gave you such a bad review in that film. Actually, you were fantastic in that film.
Yeah.
So it depends, you know, when you're writing, what state of mind you're, what are you feeling, what are your expectations when you're watching the film. You know, sometimes the expectation is so much that you feel underwhelmed. But when you look back and you see the film or revisit a painting, an art, or something, whatever you have done, a writing, a book, when you revisit it after so many years, you feel, oh, so wonderful. What was I thinking? What was I feeling? Why didn't I like it that time? But now I love it. So anything what you do in life, relationship, writing, films, acting, it has to, what is important, will it stand the test of time? Does it have long legs? कि 40 साल के बाद भी वो गाना लोगों को याद रहे, वो फिल्म याद रहे, वो काम याद रहे, चाहे विरासत हो, 1942 हो, लम्हे हो, परिंदा हो, मिस्टर इंडिया हो, बेटा हो, तेजाब हो, राम लखन हो, वो याद करते हैं. तो मतलब कुछ तो फिल्म मेकर ने कुछ बात की है, चाहे उसका संगीत हो, चाहे उसका 1-2 सीन हो, कि लोग याद करते हैं, मतलब उसमें कुछ बात है. Even other actors' films, you know, like Dilwale Dulhaniya of Shahrukh, Amir की कितनी फिल्में, Lagan, you know, and so many of his films which he has done recently also, Dangal, great films, fantastic films. 30 साल के बाद भी देखेंगे तो आपको मजा आएगा वो फिल्मों में, you know. कुछ गाने हैं जैसे जो जीता वही सिकंदर, पहला नशा. मैं अभी भी गाना लगाता हूँ तो मैं, you know, I feel मैं ये गाना अभी बना है. I just love listening to the song, you know. The certain music of Mughal-e-Azam, of, you know, so many of the things. So I think what art is that how important does it stand the test of time? That is very important.
And Anil is not just saying about his work and films. You know, when I was the editor of Screen in 2000, one day he called me and he said, "Ke Bhavna, मेरे को पुराने घर जाना है." So he took me with him to his purana ghar, which was near Sahkar Cinema. And we went there, we spent time with all the old neighbors, we came back, and then I wrote an article on it, and recently I published it in a book. Then I sent it to him, normal, like one more book I've done. And he called up and he was so emotional about it because he was reading that article where you traveled to your roots after such a long time. And at that time I told him, let's take a video camera. So he said, "Chhodna, khali photo lete hai." Remember?
Bhavna ji, one last question. If you were to write a book on Anil Kapoor, what would the title be?
I will not write a book on him because there is a long queue waiting to write a book on him. He has promised them and they are still hanging. And
Hanging since 20 years.
I think, but the title
Very,
should be
very
forever.
bad behavior. Very bad. I'm very bad.
No, I don't think. I don't think you're bad behavior. I think you are a very instinctive actor and an individual. और ऐसे लगता है कि तुमने सबको लटका के रखा है. But you will do the book when you are ready for it. You are not ready. And you should not push it. It will happen on its own. Let it be organic. But the title will be Forever Young.
Lovely. That's amazing. Bhavna ji, 19 books. And we're waiting for the 20th one. Hopefully it's Anil Kapoor. And thank you so much. This has been a lovely evening with you. And with your permission, can we take questions from the audience?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was such an honor and pleasure to hear such an amazing conversation with Bhavna ji and Anil Kapoor ji.
हमने बोर तो नहीं किया ना आप लोगों को?
Absolutely not.
लंबा तो नहीं हो गया ना? क्योंकि हम लोग क्या बहुत सालों के बाद मिल भी रहे हैं ना, और एक अलग besides there is a certain emotional connect which we have with each other. So there is a possibility that we might have had little stretched few things. So our apologies on your behalf.
Not at all.
और एक बात मैं बताना चाहूँगी, देखो, whenever you are having a book release and you have called an actor to release it, एक थोड़ा सा टेंशन रहता है, वो टाइम पे आएगा नहीं आएगा, will he be comfortable, not comfortable, will he be enjoying the process, not enjoy the process, will he be able to handle all the questions that Ruhi or somebody like Ruhi is going to put it. But you know, Anil came and he won over the audience immediately. पहले तो सलाम फेंक दिया लेफ्ट राइट सेंटर, फिर सबको बोल दिया खूबसूरत हो, तुम्हारे कपड़े अच्छे हैं, तुम्हारे दागीना अच्छा है.
देखो क्या है भावना, you know I'll tell you what, कुछ लोग बोलते हैं ये एनर्जी के बारे में बात करते हैं मेरी, कुछ लोग चार्म के बारे में बात करते हैं, ये बात करें. You can't fake it यार, it has to come from within. मैं फेक नहीं करता हूँ, मैं genuinely I feel it and I believe in what I said. मैं झूठ नहीं बोल सकता and I meant what I said. I felt good when I entered. I felt happy. I felt positive, you know, when I entered. So वो झलकता है, और मैं जो झलक रहा है, जो मुझे फील हो, मैं क्यों नहीं बताऊं, क्यों अपने अंदर रखूं, क्यों? सही बात है कि नहीं सही बात है? हेलो,
पीछे आवाज कर रही है,
कोई बात
खामोश.
नहीं, हम लोग आवाजों की भी आदत है.
Thank you.
हम आवाज से भी डिस्ट्रैक्ट नहीं होते.
Thank you so much, Anil ji. Now I would like to open the floor to questions.
Hi,
Introduce yourself.
I'm Nandita Puri.
Nandita Puri is the wife of Om Puri. She's herself a writer and a friend. Yes, Nandita.
And you mentioned that Anil Kapoor is a very hardworking, very conscientious actor. Now, I want to, in my biography of Om, I had written there that his first batch of students when he taught at Taneja Saab's Actors Studio was Anil Kapoor, Gulshan Grover, Mazhar Khan, Surinder Pal. They were all the first batch. And he said the most sincere of them was Anil Kapoor. You would follow him up to the bus stand, asking him questions, finding out things. And he taught, so, you know, it is there and it shows, and the sustainability is there.
I remember, you know, sorry, can I speak about it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because Omji was a very emotional and very sensitive and warm and a very innocent and like a child. And he looked very fierce when he wanted to look fierce. He would look very strong, very tough, but basically a very, very soft-hearted person. And I remember I was doing a play in Prithvi Theatre. And I felt, you know, my mom had given me a thin gold chain, very thin gold chain to wear. So I used to wear that thin gold chain. Must be for luck or whatever, patli si chain thi. ऐसी कोई not very ostentatious, very thin. So Anil, मैं ये play कर रहा हूँ. So can I borrow this chain, you know, to play, you know, because I am also like an actor. तो मुझे कोई चीज़ अच्छी लगती है, कोई ऐसा लगता है कैरेक्टर को कर तो किसी शर्ट ले लूँगा मैं, किसी की ट्राउज़र ले लूँगा, किसी की घड़ी ले लूँगा. जैसे कि जैकी श्रॉफ की मैंने एक पैंट ले ली थी, जीन्स ली बहुत साल पहले, फिर उसको मैंने कुछ 4 फिल्मों में पहनी है. So we actors are such, it's not for anything else. It's for the character. And the most difficult part of acting was, you see, improvisation करना बड़ा आसान होता है कि यार अपने ही डायलॉग बोलो जो भी करें, character improvisation, action problem वगैरह. But the difficult part is doing scenes. And Omji used to teach us scenes. So Omji was the one who, that means scene मतलब क्या होता है, you have to, आपको perform करना in a very structured way. कि ये scene लिखा हुआ है, अभी ये आप जो लिखा है वही बोलना है, आप अपना ऐड नहीं कर सकते. ये तो कुछ एक्टरों की आदत है ना कि इसने जो लिखा है मैं नहीं बोलूंगा, मैं अपना ही कुछ बोलूंगा. A lot of actors do that. It's very easy sometimes, because you're saying what you are, जो आपके अंदर से, but structured. So जो scene करना, that is one of the reasons that I could work with such fine writers, because the foundation was laid by Omji. कि scene का एक दायरा अलग होता है, कि आपको जैसे कि जब आदमी गाना लिखता है या तो गाना लिखता है फिर उसको कंपोज करना पड़ता है, मगर आपको उसी दायरे में आपको कंपोज करना है कि लिखा हुआ है उसको मीटर में आपको गाना करना है. तो सीन भी ऐसा ही है कि देयर इज अ सीन, नाउ यू हैव टू कंपोज द सीन, यू कांट चेंज इट, द वर्ड्स हैव टू बी द सेम एंड यू हैव टू डू द सीन. एंड वंस यू मास्टर दैट, then somewhere you feel that you know little bit about the craft of acting. So that's what I learned from Omji, and I would say that. May his soul rest in peace. Sorry, I have to, use this platform to thank him.
Nazi, you were making some observations about the book. I would like you to express that. Nazi is a fierce-looking villain, Ranjit's wife, but Ranjit is a very nice guy. He's not a villain in real life. And Nazi is his wonderful, erudite wife. Yes, Nazi.
Congrats, Bhavna. And I had picked up this book, I think it was about a month back, and I called Bhavna up and I said, Bhavna, I picked up this book. I sent her a picture of it, and I said, I want it signed from you when I see you next. And about the book, I would only say that there are visions. You can see what that man has got in his mind. And it's so elaborate, but you can see his softness also at the same time. I was at the Statue of Unity day before, and I related the book to the Statue of Unity, how he has got everything out what he wants. That was the beauty of it. And what an impressive place that has been made, And I think this book, if you just see, there's something very nice about the frog, in this. I really loved that. That was a very nice one. So we have to think deep. That man thinks deep, Our Prime Minister thinks deep, and I think he's misunderstood also because of that many times. So,
it's very well said, because he writes in his foreword that it is all about self-expression. He's writing because he wants to express himself. And it would be so easy for him in his post and position to say, to not want to be vulnerable, to not want to be transparent. But he is not bothered about how people perceive him. He says, I write today what I feel today, I will write tomorrow what I feel tomorrow. And he reacts and writes about the mountains, the streams, the meadows, the trees, the sun, the moon. In fact, the sun and the moon are recurrent motifs in his writing. And also about relationships, about the country, about social issues, about Gayatri Mantra, kite, garbo, everything is there.
Bhavna ji, I'm Rita.
You want to ask a question? I do. Yeah, please. There's a question, I think there's a lady.
I'm Rita here. I have read your critic articles as well as your patronizing articles for years.
Patronizing?
Well, sometimes you have been patronizing to the stars you are writing about. But anyway, I must tell Anil today that we heard the names of many of your movies. Even you took the name of probably your favorite movies. But you didn't talk about Chameli Ki Shaadi, Wo Sat Din. Those were beautiful, simple Anil Kapoor in them, who transited towards Dil Dhadakne Do, We cannot forget your performances. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for, of course, वो list काफ़ी, I've been very fortunate, तो list काफ़ी लंबी है. तो मैं, today we have come here to launch the book of poems. मैं पता चला कि अपनी कहानियाँ और अपनी फिल्मों के बारे में बात करा, तो इसलिए that's why I just kept a few. But yes, चमेली की शादी and वो 7 दिन are very, very close to my heart. And these are films which are still very much loved. And of course, Dil Dhadkne is one of the new films which people really loved a lot. And as I said, again, Dil Dhadkne also, when we were making the film, we felt कि हम लोग काम बात कर रहे थे, देखो कोई कमर्शियल फिल्म बनाते हैं ना हम लोग, तो वो अगर नहीं चलती तो बहुत नुकसान होता है. मगर कोई ऐसी फिल्म होती है जो दिल से बनाई गई हो, it will always have long legs. So Dil Dhadkne तो was a successful film, not that successful. But today it has become much more successful because people still love it. People still watch it again and again. And that's what a true success of a film is. And answering, I want to complete about, what she said about the poems and, the book written by, translated by Bhavna ji. Our Honorable Prime Minister has written. It's, you see, as you say, that you see a different side of him, but this is the human side, the poet side. I had an opportunity and an honor to meet him personally, face to face, room. There was no media, there was nobody around, just both of us sitting. And, otherwise, मैं भी बहुत सालों से काम कर रहा हूँ. I just, I meet him, he meets you as if he's just meeting, as a normal, not as a prime minister, but like a normal person. Anil, तुम कैसे हो? आते नहीं हो? मैंने बुलाओ, मैं आ जाता हूँ. तो बुला जाओ. तो मैंने बोला, Honorable, I must follow the protocol. So I wrote a letter. I said, can I come? Immediately जवाब आ गया, आ जाओ. And from the office, I was there, sat down, अंदर बुलाया तो मैंने शायद होंगे कोई, absolutely alone, बैठो, कैसे हो? So spoke about films, about humor, and then he spoke about an incident. वो प्यूटन साहब आए थे, तो सोनम भी थी, तो मैंने कहा कि ये मेरे दोस्त की बेटी है, सोनम. So, obviously, I'm not his friend, but for him to say that, So these are the these qualities. And when भावना जी ने कहा कि ऐसा है, तो मैंने कुछ चीज़ें पढ़ी जो मैंने ट्रांसलेट भी किया. तो उन्होंने कहा कि ये भी है, क्या पढ़ना चाहोगे? Then I could, somewhere identify with that, the fourth one, which about, it's not that I'm like that, but I would aspire to be like that. The more you detach yourself from everything, then only you can give. It's very difficult to detach from wealth, power, and you karam karte jao, phal ki chinta mat karo. You keep on working. The energy, people talk about my energy. Energy, but look at his energy. It's unreal. Diwali ho, koi bhi tyohar ho, he'll be there on the armed forces. He's here, there, he's traveling. Kabhi idhar hai, to kabhi wahan hai. Like a workaholic, like full energy. Kabhi aapne dekha nahi ho ke thake hue lag rahe. He's always looking fresh and energetic. And that's what I admire. Who's so hardworking and so trying to. मुझे भी कोई इतनी ज़्यादा, उन्होंने भी कहा है कि देखो मैं पोएट नहीं हूँ, but this is what I felt. And then his friend Mr. Ramesh Parekh and Dalal साहब, correct? सुरेश दलाल जी. तो उन्होंने कहा कि आपने ये लिखा है तो ये लोगों तक पहुँचना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं है कि he was saying कि उन्होंने इसलिए लिखा था, ये scribbled here and there कि एक दिन ये छपेगा. He was just writing what he felt at that time. And then he was saying कि नहीं, it should be published. And I'm so happy that you translated so that at least हमें इतना language का, you know, like I was admiring him because he has a master on so many languages. You know, we are still, I'm from Jammu, you know that. No? So I am also a work in progress who's learning and trying to absorb and do things. And so obviously my first language is, because we have studied in English, so our connect is English, you know. So I really loved it. That's the reason what I read. And it's beautiful, absolutely. And thank you so much for giving me this honor to launch this book. Yeah.
Ojas wants to ask a question.
Yes, I have a question. This is very different. I mean, this is not boring at all for me. This is like a kid in a candy shop with life lessons and career lessons. These are two TED Talks happening for me at the same time. So I have a question, and these are very quick questions. One for you, one for him, and one for the both of you. So my first question to you is, I had the absolute pleasure and honor of being in the same meeting with the man yesterday night in Surat. He was in Surat, and so my question to you is, has he read any drafts of this, or have you spoken to him after compiling this or completing this?
So when I met him first before starting on the book, and they called me, I said I wanted to meet him, but I didn't tell the office why I wanted to meet him, so I cooked up some other excuse. And they called me 2-3 times, and it was always on a Thursday or something, which is my screening day. तो मैंने बोल दिया कि मैं नहीं आ सकती हूँ. फिर एक दिन मेरा एक दोस्त वहाँ बैठा था, तो उसने बोला कि if it's from the Prime Minister's office, you can't say कि you are busy. I said, but I'm busy because it's my movie release. It's giving me my salary. So I think then they called me to Mumbai when he was at the Raj Bhavan, and I translated 5 poems and I gave it to him. So he only had one question to ask me, okay, why did you choose this book? So I told him the reason I had chosen this book. Then as he was getting up to go, I said, I know you're very busy, but make sure that your office informs me whether what I have translated is to your taste, because otherwise I will not proceed and waste my time and your time. So he said, okay. Uske baad, the PMO called me up and they said, okay, you can go ahead, he's fine with it. And when the book was released, they sent me many messages and said, ke bahut sundar chhe.
Shubh Manoranjan. Wow. Question to the man. जो महानायक की हम किताब की बात कर रहे हैं और जिस नायक को हमने स्क्रीन पर देखा है, वो चाहे वो नायक फिल्म हो, जो सिर्फ वो क्लिप, वो इंटरव्यू की क्लिप जो इतनी वायरल गई है, लेकिन डू यू हैव अ पर्टिकुलर बुक, कोई ऐसी किताब है विच यू रिविजिट, भले उसके पन्ने पीले पड़ते हों, बट इफ यू हैव समथिंग इन योर कलेक्शन दैट यू रीड एंड देन गो बैक टू इट?
गलत सवाल कर दिया यार. No,
yeah, or a film.
ऐसा नहीं है, इतना भी बुरा नहीं है. No, of course, I definitely read books whom I feel inspired by, motivated by. I've read a lot of biographies, and I read a lot about. And today, obviously, the younger generation, people like me, are also. There's not one night before I go to sleep that I don't see or watch or read something about people who have not only achieved in the cinema, but in any other field, just to motivate myself and just to feel, how fortunate I am. And today I think all of us are very, very fortunate. There are advantages and disadvantages of the social media, of the internet, or the YouTube. But today everything is available not only for you to read, but to watch it and hear it. So I keep on, reading and watching and of so many great people. Not one, but quite a few of them. But especially I love reading autobiographies, biographies, and listening to all these motivational. I was just latest was about Muhammad Ali. So I keep on. So as my children also just stop sending these motivational clips to us. I said no, but I'm motivating myself. So I want all my friends and all to see it. I said what is it? Which, what is the center of your, the way you are, and how do you achieve, and what is the center, and keep yourself and achieve what you have achieved? I said stay away from nightclubs, sleep on time, stay away from all these, as I said, in that, detaching yourself. And that's what it is. So, these people have sacrificed so much. If you see all the Roger Federer and, these kind of great players and who have achieved and world champions and people in any field, चाहे वो politics पे हो, leader हो, sports में हो, या art में हो, बच्चन साहब का example ले लीजिए. Look at the way he's led his life. He's so on time, professionalism, committed. It's not, and it's consistent. 10 साल, 20 साल, 30 साल, 40 साल, 50 साल. चलते ही जा रहे, so you get inspired by these people, and so that's what I do. So sometimes it's in real life, people who are living, some people who are not there. I just keep on watching and reading and observing. So ऐसा नहीं है.
This ever evolving encyclopedia that you've become
Absolutely
keeps you young.
Yeah. And chefs, cooks, women, wives, wives who have looked after their families. I admire them. Appreciate them, I respect them. मैं जाके पाँव छूता हूँ उनके. The way they have, kept the family together. Krishna auntie, Mrs. Raj Kapoor.
And Mrs. Sunita Kapoor also. Inki biwi, if he's eating wrong thing, she will get to know in instinct.
That's a very, very small, it's an important thing, but not the most important thing.
Yeah.
There's so much, just give. What do you believe in? The more you give, the more you'll get. This is what I believe in. This is what I've learned from these people. कि यार कर्म करते जाओ फल की चिंता मत. Give as much as you can. Double 10 गुना ज़्यादा मिलेगा. 10 गुना. पर देते रहो. Don't expect. Give. Obviously, it's not easy, but this is what I feel is the right thing to do.
It's very, very inspiring. Thank you so much. And it's just one last, very quick question. I remember the very first time.
दो ही question होता है. दूसरे भी.
One for you, one small question.
Sure.
Yes. I remember the first time
Also
I
very,
met you.
very strict, हाँ, very strict. और मैं आपसे senior actor हूँ.
नहीं, I remember the first time I met you, and I remember the first time I met him also, in a place not too far away. Do you all remember the very first time you all met?
Of course, I remember. Ek Baar Kaho, he was shooting, and it was in some recording theatre.
1981, right?
Yeah.
81,
Film release nahi hui thi. And I was friends with Shabana Azmi, and he was curious why we were friends. And then I think I told him that you're from Chembur. I have a friend in Chembur called, whatever is that friend's name. And he said, if you are her friend, then you are very safe.
Okay. Now I request Swati Agarwal to present a token of our reverence and acknowledgement to Bhavna ji and Anil Kapoor ji.